So here I will talk about moving average and the moving range chart. So this one is very similar to individual and the moving range chart. So only difference is that instead of range moves, we move the average as well. So let me show you how it works. So if the steps are same as the individual and the moving range, we choose the number of measurements. Here I took two of them, so 162, 63. You take the range and then this way. So similarly it works for this problem as well, but let me just did is copy the values that I have. The only difference is that the upper control and lower control limits are with A2, but again you use the chart here, and then the similarly for the range. First is that we select the, you can select the first two, you can select three, it's up to you. Select, let's select this one. I will select the three measurements to show you how it works. Yes, but again up to you. So you can select two as well. Okay, so I will go with the 162, 163, and then 160. And then for this one I will do the average and then the range. Range is very easy, it is 3. The average is the average of these numbers, so it will be 162 plus 163 plus 160 and divide by 3, so it will be 161 point something, 161.67. okay, and then this is the first 3, and then I will move to next 3 values. So next 3 is that 2, 3, and 4. These are so 163, 160, and then 166. Okay, for this one again I will look for the average and then the range. Range is just 6, the max minus minimum. The average will be 163, 160, 166, divide by 3, 163. Okay, and then I move on to next one, so it will be that 3, 4, 5. It will be 160, 166, 159. Again the average and then the range. The average is that by 3, 161.67, and the range is 7. This way you go all the end, so it will be that 165, 160, 155. Again you find the average and then range. The best is, let's do it in Excel how it works. But this one is a moving average and a moving range, as you can see. So what happens is that we move average and the range as well. Yeah, both of them we move it. So there are lots of chart options that you can use, but these are just one of the famous ones that I'm using and showing to you. Okay, let's move on to Excel. Let me see. Okay, so first thing is that we take 3 measurements for moving average and range. Okay, so let's start with the let's delete this one and then move this one up, and then first I will start with X bar. The X bar will be that the average of first 3. Okay, if I move it down, so you can see this one is the average of second. If I move it down, average of the third. As you can see, it just moves one by one, so you can just go this way and then let's check. Okay, one more step. Okay, and you can even go and you will notice the error here, and you can see it just went with the empty one. so I will not take it, and then done. Similarly, I will do the range, and then the range will be the same as this one, but instead of average I will take the max minus minimum, max of the numbers here minus the minimum of the numbers here. Okay, and then 3, and then just do the same stuff. Okay, so if I go to a formula here, it just says that find the x double bar, the range average, and etc, etc. Okay, so then x bar, and then range bar, and then that will be equal to the average of the range of values here. The average will be the okay, so this is 7.9, this one is 163.7. So since I've got the average, now it's time to calculate the A2 value. The A2 value here will be, so since I took 3 measurements, then A2 will look for 3. Okay, for the previous one I took 2 measurements and then I was checking 2 here, but now I'm taking 3. You can see I'm taking 3 at once, so just go with the 3 here. For that 3, the A2 value is here, 1.023, and then D3 is 0, and D4 is 2.574. Let's do that. A2 for n is 3, that will be 1.023. D4 will be 2.574, and D3 is 0. Okay, now let's look for UCL X bar, LCL X bar, and then the center line, then UCL R bar, sorry, R, LCL R, and then the R bar. Okay, so UCL X bar will be that the average here plus the A2 times the R bar. So A2 times the R bar. So all of them should be the dollar sign because I will use the same stuff for. Okay, and similarly for LC, and then the LC will be the same formula but just the minus here. Okay, and then center line will be the grand average here, but the again dollar sign. The upper range for the R will be D4 times the R bar. So again, this one will be the F4, F4. And then lower range, it will be 0 because D3 is 0. As you can see the formula, D3 is 0, but D4 is not 0. So let's check the formula again. Okay, this one is 0. Then I'll do this. And then the R bar will be the value here. Then again F4. And then just we have to scroll it down. Okay, then we are done. Time is to plot it. So we just go insert and then plot. First is that I will go with the X bar chart, select data, then add. X values will be the sample count here, and then the Y values will be the average values. The only difference is this one you are going with the average instead of the individual values. Okay, now let's add the upper control range and lower control range. Add the upper control one. Okay, and then add the lower control limits. Okay, and then add the center line. Okay, now let's check, and this one is the data what we have. As you can see, all of them are in the control range. We don't have any, I mean, any unusual pattern. So everything looks okay. Everything is in the control line. Everything is around the center line and symmetric, and we don't have any trend. We don't have any cyclic pattern or whatever. Everything looks fine. So now let's move on to R bar chart, moving R chart, sorry. Again, insert, and we have this. Okay, and then select data. So I will go with the X values again, will be my samples, and then the Y values will be the range values. Okay, and then let's add the upper control limit for the range values, and then add the lower control limit. It should be 11, yes. Sorry, this one is wrong. It should be in the Y values, the lower control limit. Okay, and then let's add the center line. Okay, let's see how it looks like. Again, we don't have any unusual pattern. Everything looks okay, symmetric around the center line. We don't have any values that show a trend for us, any values that's outside the limits, and then everything looks fine. And this is how the moving average works. As I told, so we use the moving average when we have the sample size that is equal to 1. So for each sample, as you can see, my sample 1 has 1 measurement, sample 2 has 1 measurement. So for each of my samples, I have 1 measurement. But if you have more than 1, then you don't use these moving average methods. You have to move back to the methods that we have used, like X bar R chart or X bar X chart. Thank you, everyone.